You worked with Walt Disney. He actually hired you back in the day to build Disneyland. That is amazing.
I just made the drawing itself. And Walt looked at the thing and he says, "Bobby, can you build that?" And I stupidly said, "Well, yes."
Didn't the Secret Service freak out or something like that? Or was I wrong?
I drove through the station. The Secret Service were running, trying to get in it. Then I came back around and we parked and we all got off. We walked down the down ramp. Nixon turned around and he looked back up. The Secret Service are sitting in the train.
People are always asking us about the basketball hoop at the top of the Matterhorn.
Yes.
What's the deal with the basketball hoop up there?
Okay.
I don't know if you remember the first time we met, but
I sure do.
this is one of my favorite stories. Hey, Insiders!
Oh, man.
This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, when we talk about awesome people and awesome stories, there's a very special guest who we've thought of for a very long time, and he's actually the first Disney legend that we've had on the show.
Yes.
He is, yes. All right. To get started, I'm Kara.
I'm Eric.
I'm Adam, and our guest today was hired by Walt Disney, and it is Disney legend Bob Gurr.
Hey! I am so old, I am awesome.
Yes, you've been awesome a very long time. Yeah.
That's awesome. Bob has some amazing stories to share with us today, and
Yeah.
we think you're awesome, which is we're just excited to show everyone else how awesome you actually are.
And honestly,
Yeah, simmer it down a little bit. Yeah.
honestly, before we get into it, I have to say there's like a new facet of the Totally Awesome show because this is a totally awesome outfit.
Wow.
You look awesome.
All right.
Best dressed already.
I know, best dressed.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
So, obviously, it's probably the most burning question, but you worked with Walt Disney. He actually hired you back in the day to build Disneyland. That is amazing.
The way that came about was on a day just like today. In fact, it was this week in 1954.
Wow.
Right after a storm, and it had blue sky and beautiful white clouds. We got it again.
Wow.
This is 1954 all over again.
Wow.
I received a call. It was a cold call, and a fella said, meet Mr. Irvine at the Disney studio in 20 minutes, and then he hung up. I never did find out who the call was, but I suspect it came directly with somebody. Walt said, go get this guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, so I arrive at the studio, and sure enough, there is a Mr. Irvine, and he's at the gate, at the Buena Vista gate.
Wow.
About 2 weeks later, I found out that Mr. Irvine was Dick Irvine in charge of the entire Disneyland project.
Whoa.
I thought this must have been important if the head guy got out of the office and he's waiting for this new guy to drive up.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
only like 22 years old.
Wow.
But very quickly, within about 2 weeks, I was deeply into this little Autopia car project.
Oh, so
Wow.
Autopia was first.
Autopia was first.
Wow.
And it was
Nice.
followed with a whole bunch of things. Then this went on for like 27 years.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
How cool to get a call one day that ended up kind of making the next 27 years of your life all change just in that one moment where you showed up to the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a very awesome thing at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Walt Disney was, basically, but I figured he had something to do with the duck. Yeah. Because my father used to drive me down Riverside Drive, and there was a vacant lot, and they were starting to build something, and I said, what's going to be there? And he says, Donald Duck's going to live there.
Oh, and Donald Duck still lives there. We
Yeah.
see Donald there all the time.
Yeah, that's all I knew.
Wow.
Not until I get in the studio, and then by this was like a Wednesday. By Saturday, I finally saw who Walt Disney was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what was very interesting, because they had a little Autopia car chassis on the back lot, and that's why I got called. It was obvious they need a body for a little car. Oh, I can do that line of work.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
And it was early in the morning, on Saturday morning, and the guys stand around. They put their foot on the tire, and they put the elbow on, and they cogitate. We had a spare tire available, and an older guy walks up. He kind of unshaven looking. I thought it was the father of one of the night guards.
Oh, yeah.
And we chatter about the car, and then when he walked away, everybody says, "See ya, Walt." And I thought,
Walt? Wow.
was that Walt Disney?
Wow.
I never got introduced.
Really?
But by the
Wow.
following Saturday, we're in a big conversation about how we're gonna do this job. So it was a very funny thing, having never been formally introduced. we're working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you guys are just like in this project, and you never got formally introduced. So you didn't know Walt prior to Disneyland. You didn't know prior to getting the call. You didn't know who he was.
Well, I had a sense that it had something to do with the LA Times had a beautiful painting of a park with a balloon over the top of the thing.
Oh wow.
And I used to go to Iwerk's home
Oh, wow.
once a month for the Sunday after church dinner. And he used to like to make black and white movies of current events on the back lot, both movies and
Wow.
this new amusement park thing.
Yeah.
So by the time I drove out to the studio, I was wondering, did that beautiful park picture and that little chassis running around the back lot have anything to do with,
Right. With this project.
What
Yeah.
you're working on.
And the minute I walked out there, and then they told me what they were looking for, I thought, they must have found out I'm a car designer.
Yeah. See, and that's the perfect hire for Autopia, because even back then it had such a different look than most average cars. So they were very unique. And for those of you who don't know as well, Up Iwerks was actually the co-creator of Mickey Mouse. So he designed Mickey with Walt Disney. So that is a lot of Disney history there talking about Up Iwerks. But I know that some people don't know that. So
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's pretty awesome. So car designing, that's kind of where you got started, right?
Well, when I was 5 years old, it was cars and airplanes.
Oh,
Even
wow.
to the
Classic.
point my father always was disappointed, according to my mother, that you wait for the child to say mama or dada, and I said plane.
I love that.
So I think I was hooked by visually what I saw around me, more by cars, airplanes than parents.
Yeah, it's like,
Oh, man.
you've always been here. That's an airplane. How to get up
New.
there? That's new. That's
So
awesome.
obviously those two hooks I still have.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is a continuity, which in a way partly guided me why I wound up designing cars instead of airplanes.
Oh, right.
And then why many of the things careers started with was being a designer for the Ford Motor Company for less than a year.
Yeah.
And then winding up real job at Disney
Yeah.
Studio,
Yeah.
which was not forecast.
Right.
But it wound up, I did cars for Disneyland. So it worked.
Yeah. So,
So
you were
awesome.
still in the car design business, just at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And what's kind of interesting now that you say that puts so many pieces together in my head about some of the things you did design at Disney, like the monorail or the Doom buggy or even the fire engine that goes down Main Street.
Yeah.
That's all kind of like car related in a way, which is pretty cool. That
It's
makes
cars, but with like a little magical spin to it.
yes, with like a design twist that makes
Yeah.
it better than just a car, right?
Yeah,
Not
way
just a car.
cooler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the funny thing, when I was at Ford Motor Company, I was in the Lincoln studio, not knowing I would do a President Lincoln later
Wow, yeah.
for
Yeah.
Walt Disney.
Yes, yes.
You go from like Lincoln Cars to President Lincoln. You got
Yes.
to do so many things. That's what's so cool, I think, about like the early development of Disneyland is Imagineering wasn't necessarily a thing, right? You just needed painters or you needed, someone designing cars and different things, and you all got together for such a cool project.
Well, how Walt Disney found people, usually assumption, let's say when we talk about Disney, over 50 years ago, we talk about it from a professional MBA standpoint, but we have to remember it was totally different in Walt's day, the way people would work.
Yeah.
And in the specific case of Walt, he would never put an ad in the newspaper for a specific type of job.
Interesting.
He would ask around the other employees or friends and say, do you know somebody that could come in here and do this?
Yeah.
Whether it's music or writing or set design or whatever. But apparently he asked the question, do you know anybody here that can put a body on that little car? Okay, I tracked it down. There was two guys. There was Ward Kimball,
Oh, yeah.
because I knew Ward Kimball 2 years before I came to the studio, because we're both in the same car club together with this Horses Carriage Club.
Oh, wow.
That's
And
cool.
then they had a magazine called The Gazette, and there was an artist who was a Disney producer, and he did the painting on the covers of the magazine. And so the two of them turned me in because as Walt would ask questions, yeah, we know a guy.
Yeah.
He used to design cars in Detroit. He's fully qualified from Art Center. Call him.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's
Nice.
how the phone call came about.
Wow.
That's
a
very cool.
fascinating
So cool.
story, and I did not know that. That is really cool.
See, you could have not have found me in a newspaper.
Right.
But because
Right.
of word of mouth asking, people Walt would find these interesting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a powerful tool. Like, your friends and the different people that you interact with are like what led you to such a cool opportunity. It is such a, I don't know, that's such a cool way to get hired into the Disney family back then,
It's a cool way to get hired, and it's also a really cool way to Walt to have built that team, I feel.
Yeah, very-
Just because, I don't know, it brings in so much opportunity.
Yeah, and there's people that already have a similar connection
Exactly.
that are now coming in under the common goal of building Disneyland.
Well, and something that we've heard a lot of times when they talk about Imagineering, even today, or anything that Disney does, is just being able to work well as a team, because the projects that obviously Disney does with Imagineering are so huge. That just working with a team and contributing and being able to work together is what makes a good Imagineer, and what makes kind of the teams and the projects and the rides that you guys make so awesome.
Yeah.
And so how cool that, like, from day one, Walt was asking, fellow teammates and different people if they knew someone to contribute.
yeah, because I think
very
that
cool.
builds a stronger team
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah.
So,
Now, see, they could ask for people who come in and do stuff to do with animation,
right,
film, and television.
right.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do when you start gathering up people and you say amusement park? What?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it had never been done before, right?
No, well, no one visualize an artist, business, television, film, amusement park.
Yeah.
So that meant that all the people who were being gathered, it's more than 24 different trades.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Walt was trying to gather these people up and orchestrate them under the direction of like 2 or 3 people were rather key besides
Yeah.
Dick Irvine.
Yeah.
Just only a tiny handful, like civil engineering, art, set decoration, all this kind of stuff,
Right.
storyboarding.
Yeah.
That goes beyond the movie because we're going into 3-dimensional real stuff with people wandering around in it.
Yeah.
But within a few months, the people that Walt had gathered up originally, they began to gel enough that they could see that, oh my gosh, this is what you want us to do.
Yeah.
And the
Wow.
key thing I heard from everybody was, I've never done any of this before. And this is the strange thing, and I think the way it worked was Walt was so enthusiastic in his mind about what he wanted to do that enthusiasm rubbed off on everybody else.
Wow.
And literally, we're at the starting gate with 0 experience.
Yeah.
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 And that generated very, very quickly. I'm talking about, like, let's say from the late summer of 54 and heavily into the spring, and we're going to open in 55 in only July?
Yeah.
I mean, this is no time at all.
No,
Yeah.
you had to figure it out really quickly, and Disneyland
Obviously, it was
opened
figured out
so
well
early.
because, it's been there 70 years now.
Yeah, it's still standing.
has.
It's still
Yeah.
standing.
But like you said, no one has ever tried to build a live Abraham Lincoln before, right? Like that was the first time that's ever happened, and
Well-
obviously that was later in Disney, but still.
Yeah,
still.
well, as you know, a whole bunch of things with the new attractions, that was an invitation to do radical new stuff, the things that had never been done, one job after another, because Walt very seldom would pick up an attraction that already existed. We had to pick a few of them up, like the Rotojet, things like that.
Right,
But
right.
everything else was from custom.
Yeah.
The way he wanted to see something.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's so
cool. What always makes me like Disney. What's so iconic about Disneyland is like the monorail attraction. No one has ever seen a vehicle that looks like that and that was designed like that, and it was just like straight out of your team and Walt Disney's imagination was to build this like transportation vehicle that fits perfectly within the theming of Disneyland, and they had to create that from scratch. No one had ever really done it before, especially not in the United States. So it's like just amazing that you guys were able to even not just visualize it, but then turn it into reality, right? And that's what's so cool about Imagineering.
Well, you know, Walt wanted to always have a monorail. He had a couple of typewritten pages with a list of, if he built a park someday, here's what he'd like to have. And I got a copy of it.
Oh, wow.
Somewhere in there's a line item that just says monorail.
Yeah.
And this was like 1952.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't until October of 58, 6 or 8 months after the Tomorrowland Project 59, it was already underway, which didn't have a monorail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's an iconic part of Tomorrowland.
Yeah,
It
so
is.
late summer, he and his wife Lily are driving in Germany down a road, and all of a sudden a monorail went across the road right in front of him. Just happenstance. So he stops and asks people, you know, about the train, and they say, go across the street and talk to the company. You talk to the company, and within a few days, Allway Company in Germany and Disney here in Burbank were now had a business discussion.
Wow.
And very shortly,
Interesting.
Walt came over with my boss, Roger Broggie Sr., head of the machine shop, and showed me these pictures of the train.
Yeah.
They were already talking about how to build a beamway at Disneyland. And then Walt looks at it and he shows me the picture, and he says, this is not a very good-looking train. So, Bobby, I want you to get started on ours right away. And he walked out of the room.
Wow. And you're like, how am I supposed to do this?
It's like
No.
No?
No.
No?
I had never seen a configuration of a train that sat on the beam. I thought they always hung from something.
Oh.
So I had never seen a configuration of such a thing until Walt showed me a picture of it.
Oh.
okay.
And here's the kicker. Marty Scar used to talk about a white piece of paper, a person could either take off like a shot or scared to death.
Uh-huh.
I was never scared of a piece of paper. If I had a piece of paper here and a pencil, I can do anything my way.
I like it.
There's a lot of people who don't think like that. But
You're right.
I
So
was-
you weren't intimidated by the project. You're like, I know exactly what I want this to look like.
yes.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's so cool.
Within like only 2 to 2.5 days, I had enough of a rough sketch in my kitchen table out here in North Hollywood. Couldn't wait to get out on Monday and make a real drawing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That famous monorail drawing, the two monorails crossing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did that from the rough sketch. Like 3 days later.
Wow.
Which a couple of days after that, Walt comes over and John Henson put the color on it. I just made the drawing itself. And Walt looked at the thing and he says, Bobby, can you build that? And I stupidly said, well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one part that was very difficult, so I wouldn't draw that one again. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the whole thing, we just charged ahead because he asked and I said yes, and we're doing it.
Wow.
And we only had 8.5 months
Wow.
from that point until I gave Walt and his friend Dick Nixon a ride in it.
I-
Eight
Oh,
and a half
yeah.
months. This is how fast
Wow.
everybody was doing their designing and developing and fabricating to build a Disneyland at an ungodly speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so inspiring that just to hear how boldly you took on that project and how amazingly it ended up. I mean, if I remember correctly, that's still what you guys designed is still like the main components of the monorail almost 70 years
Yeah,
later.
it's
at
not
that point.
changed
It
much.
hasn't really changed
Yeah.
much.
I mean,
and
a little bit, I think, of design, but even
Not-
barely.
barely, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's amazing. So you actually talked about Walt and Nixon on the Matterhorn the first time. If I have heard that story correctly, it probably is better coming from you, but didn't the Secret Service freak out or something like that? Or was I wrong?
Okay, well, yeah, you're hopping ahead to 1959 when we were starting with how I got started there.
Right.
So let's tell that a little bit later.
Okay, okay. We'll get to that story
Got it.
later. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
you probably got some more things you want to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
People always say, well, Bob, how did you get to where you got? Because you always say you never had a goal in life. Well, I really never did.
Really?
There was stuff I liked, cars and airplanes. And so sometimes in high school, I don't ever remember having an idea, what in the world am I going to do? I'm having such a good time at everything I'm doing anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't until very close to graduation that I had architecture class.
Oh,
But
wow.
they had a lot of big paper, and I would draw cars on some of the paper. Mr. Gullard, the architecture teacher, says, okay, if you get your assignments done in our architecture class, I'll look the other way if you want to draw cars the rest of the period.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So because I love drawing cars.
Yeah.
And then he suddenly suggested, he says, when you graduate, why don't you go down to the Art Center School? Never heard of it.
Wow.
An architecture student sending me off to a car school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never really happened
That's
before.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That
that
was-
sort of set the stage for, okay, I'll professionally do cars. I really wanted to be an airplane engineer.
Oh, yeah.
My math was so bad I wasn't qualified. But
Oh,
I figured
Yeah.
cars are strictly art. There's no math involved.
Yeah.
true.
So the cars are easy.
Yeah. A little more pressure with planes for when it goes up. It has to, you
Yeah,
know,
it's gotta stay
stay
there.
up and not
well,
crash.
yeah, there's more involved.
Yeah. No, there is. But that's amazing.
Yeah, so we got to like 1954, as you talked about, and then we skipped ahead to 1959. So what was it like kind of in the early phase? Disneyland had opened, but you were still building, right? Obviously, Disneyland will never be complete. But what was kind of that period after the park opened like, where did you just kind of keep working and developing projects the same? Or was there any relief when the park was open?
The day after the park opened, it was falling apart. Every detail had to be redone over time because remember, you draw a plot plan where the flower's going to go, where the walkway's going to go. But by Monday morning, we saw the footprints going through the flowers, which told us the guests will choose which way they want to walk. So we were moving flower beds and putting concrete in different places. That was a very example. We also found out with amusement park rides, complicated some of the equipment. We thought it was simple, but actually there was a lot of things weren't working well because of the amount of people riding the attractions every day. We now shifted within, I'd say, a month of opening. We had probably the blackest summer I've ever seen in 55 until the schools restarted around August, September, where we could shut down for Mondays and Tuesdays.
Right.
Be closed. How do we repair and fix? The big thing was, what have we learned so far that we're going to relearn
Right.
and find out how designs really should work in an amusement park?
Yes.
Which is sort of an interesting thing. How many people would go off into something that had never been done and figure, well, we'll get it started and then we'll adjust it as we go? Well, that's what we were doing.
Wow.
So instead of, saying, oh, we got a park open, oh, this is wonderful and all that. No, it's falling apart. So now
Man.
everybody in their different areas were understanding how to redesign or get operations to work better. All these details, all the way through that summer until we got up to like about October or November.
Yeah.
And a lot of people weren't coming back. So we thought, well, a lot of the professional people over here said, well, this thing's going to be bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About Thanksgiving, all of a sudden the crowd started to really show up.
Oh, wow.
And Walt could see that, it might work. And the first thing he did, he put Christmas tree lights on the top of all the buildings.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And it made the place look cute, It's just people go, we'll spend Christmas, we'll go to Disneyland. Oh, they got decorations. Oh, the buildings look cute. The buildings
Yeah.
by themselves.
So the first Christmas was decorated.
Oh,
at
yes.
Disneyland. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because what are we going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think by right after Christmas, Walt says, take out all the colored lights and put in all white lights.
Yeah.
And we call it rim lighting.
Ooh.
So rim lighting became the Disney standard for what do you do to decorate architecture.
Yes.
Wow.
And then
I
if
have
you
to
look
say-
back in history, when he lived in Chicago, there was a big electrical fair, which everything was electricity.
Yeah.
And Walt, as a young teenager, he sees all these lights on everything. See, it was in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do for something to make it look really cool? Oh,
You decorate it.
yeah, and we'll do it with white lights instead of Christmas lights.
Yeah.
So that set us a whole new standard of how we present architecture.
Wow.
I find that so interesting because everyone talks about opening day attractions, opening day stores, but it's really interesting to me that there weren't quite those Main Street lights on the first day because nobody really talks about the fact that they weren't there. But when you think of Disneyland in these days, you can't see Main Street without those lights.
That's true.
Like mentally.
Yeah.
So that's so interesting that it wasn't there originally.
Yeah, but that he got the idea right out of Christmas, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard to look back at Disneyland over the years, because you look back from now and each of theirs going all the way back, and it gets skinnier and skinnier and skinnier.
It does.
But we had to see it from, we got to go somewhere with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
On the way to where we are now.
And you guys were in the weeds of that. So, we talk about it, like it was in the past, like, oh yeah, they opened Disneyland, and then we kind of jumped to like opening Small World in 64. Like there's kind of a gap that not very many people talk about. It's kind of awesome to hear your stories of like what that time was like, because I think it was really critical for the longevity of Disneyland was that phase right after opening versus when they kind of revamped Disneyland, was just how they modified it and kept it alive within that window and kept improving even once it was open.
Well, in 1956, remember, there were several new attractions. Some were quite involved.
Yeah.
Walt saw by Christmas, this might work. We've got to augment it fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was, to great surprise to some of us, he had us all doing all new stuff for the 1956 summer.
Oh,
Wow. That's
Yeah.
fast.
Okay.
Wow, that's really fast.
And then I can only speak to the vehicles because it didn't take very long. We got a Autopia car.
Yeah.
We're going to need to think about a train someday.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got to also think about the existing railroad.
Right.
Because you got passenger cars, they don't work. You got two little dinky doors with everybody going in and out of dinky doors on cute-looking cars. And we had railroad cars.
Yeah.
Found out simple things. People from other countries don't like riding in a cattle car.
Yeah.
Oh, we had to start moving the boards on the cattle cars.
Yeah.
And then the gondola cars. Who wants to be in a hot sun in the summertime? So Walt says, Bobby, do something with the gondolas. And I said, well, everybody's looking to the right, and you're going this way. So I put park benches, two tiered park benches, and I put up a stupid-looking awnings with some pipe just to get the sun off people's heads. So the gondolas were now sideways riding.
Oh, wow, like that.
Yeah, like that.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then
Like move.
and then by 1956, they were thinking we got to do something with the train, in which we did a streamlined train in 57, and for 58, Walt said, well, let's do a Narragansett car. Nobody knows what a Narragansett car is. The trains down there at Disneyland now have been there since 58. They're,
Wow.
they're open air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who has a railroad? You can fall out.
Right?
And they look just like the horse cars.
Yeah.
It's
they
the
do.
same seats, the same posts, the same
Wow.
curves and everything.
You're right.
But Walt said, let's do a Narragansett car, 1888. And my boss, Roger Brogan, gave me the drawings of cars that were built in Massachusetts, for the summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's called excursion. It only goes out in the summer and takes people out to a picnic someplace.
Oh, wow.
It's hot, rainy, but there's flowers, it's pretty, and a picnic. We don't need to have a body on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go sit on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because look how fast it loads.
It does.
You
Yeah.
walk in, sit down anywhere.
Yeah.
Just like that. Really,
Yeah.
really quick.
It's perfect for a lot of people. It's really, really great. And I find it really relaxing. I love the Disneyland Railroad.
The train is like one of my favorite rides every time. I love getting my coffee or my popcorn and just going around the park and seeing all the sights. I don't know.
It's one
I love it.
attraction at Disneyland you can eat food on.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
I
big
do
one.
appreciate
Yep.
that.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, because remember, it's an excursion picnic train.
Yes.
Of course
Yes.
you can eat on it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of evolutions that came along every year. And then, of course, by 1958, early 58, Walt wanted to do this all-new 1959 project,
Oh, wow.
which started out with, number one, they wanted to have a subride.
Oh, wow.
And then they wanted to have a Matterhorn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then we had to add another Autopia.
Yes.
And they had a motorboat ride. And then, in the infamous summer of 58, Walt says, I found a monorail. We're going to add a monorail to the, oh my God. And I'm
Wow.
working on all of them.
Oh, my gosh.
So by the time,
You're like the king of Tomorrowland.
by the time June, of 59, I did the preliminary design on Matterhorn. After I'd done a preliminary look at the subride, because they thought, well, they should do them with cable, underground cables.
Oh, yeah.
So which we looked at, but that doesn't make any sense. When you get the cable car system in San Francisco, guy told us don't ever use cables. So the motorboat's going to have a motor in it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we got started on the Matterhorn.
Yeah.
And then Walt has a model made, so it looks like the Matterhorn. Looks
Right.
like
Oh,
a
yeah.
pile of molten ice cream with holes in it.
Yeah.
He calls me over and he says, "Okay, this is what it's going to look like on the outside. Now we're going to put a track in there, and so you design the track. And oh, by the way, put 2 tracks in there." And then he walks away. See, a lot of things were a
Back
sudden.
to you and your blank page.
See, a lot of things that did it were a sudden whim. They're
Yeah.
just, oh, you do it, and then walk away.
Yeah.
So I had to work at a ferocious pace to figure out a course line to get that track course line, because Aero Development up north was going to build it,
Yeah.
waiting for, we'll build it, but what's the course line?
Yeah.
And it required mathematics. I
Yes.
had to teach
Yeah.
myself trigonometry to do that.
I was wondering about that because
Well,
you have
yeah.
to be really exact. when you're
Meantime,
building a track.
I'm designing the all-new Mark V Autopia car.
Oh, wow.
And then Admiral Fowler, who was instrumental in building the part, he wants a motorboat ride
Wow.
with a propeller in the front.
Oh, no.
And make it safe.
And make it safe.
Yeah.
Stupid idea, but you don't fail to follow the orders of an admiral.
No.
Very
you do
true.
not.
So we built a stupid boat with a stupid front propellers anyway. And then comes the October. He found the monorail.
Oh.
Wow.
Now I start the monorail
Wow.
that late.
Must have just been a designing machine. I
Yeah.
mean, just doing so much at once.
I don't ever want to see a year like that. But he did it with everybody who was involved in that whole 59 project.
Wow.
So from that, we never worked quite as ferocious, but we were able to split work out over a more period of time, and that pretty became our MO of how we want to develop attractions, but not like a mouthful all at once.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
you were basically designing kind of the monorail and the Matterhorn track and the submarine attraction
Like,
all at the
All
same
at the same
time.
time.
Well,
train.
in a blended period.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Okay.
because submarine was first,
Okay.
then comes monorail, then comes Autopia car, and then we pile in the others, and then finally throw in the monorail on top of that.
Wow. Wow.
That's so unique.
That is.
and they're all still so iconic, and most of them are like still there today.
I know.
I know they're
most
still
of them are
standing,
pretty
still
untouched.
going.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
rethemed for some of them, but still there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
Finding
still
Nemo
present.
now
Yeah,
instead of 20,000
instead of-
Leagues, but it's still the same
Hey, it's
exact
still got
vehicle.
Nemo.
It does, yeah, still got Nemo.
See, we had a guy, his name was Bill Martin, and all these ideas that Walt was throwing in there in that area, Bill Martin had the ability to visualize in his mind in 3D where everything goes and how it intermingles. Because if visualize there's a submarine cavern for the sub, it just
Yeah.
happens to be the ground forest for trees
Yes.
and cars.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and little sticks going in the ground to hold up a monorail over the whole thing.
Yes.
We had
Yeah.
one guy who was really good at seeing that in his mind's eye and how to draw it so it all fits. So the civil engineering work, you could pour the concrete, put in all the steel, all that stuff, and then back away and paint it and put up the sign and people write it.
Wow.
And the whole thing looks like it all fits. But what a tangle of stuff for that Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
Yeah, big
One of my
time.
favorite photos to take at Disneyland actually is when you go to the monorail and you go to where the elevator is on the left side and you take a photo that direction. There's the monorail track, the submarine lagoon, and the Matterhorn. And when you get the monorail coming around that corner, it's just a gorgeous picture of all three of those attractions all at
Yeah.
once. And so I think it's so cool that you built all three of those things, which is, and that's like almost your little like,
It's like-
corner of Disneyland.
It's like the Bob Gurr corner.
Yes, yeah, it's like the Bob Gurr
And then
corner.
we throw a people mover onto the whole
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Very true.
Yeah.
That's
I do miss
true.
the people mover.
Yeah.
I do miss the People Mover. We still ride it at Disney World.
Yeah.
Whenever we go, it's one of our favorite attractions. Is the People
Yeah, it's a
Mover
good
out
one.
there?
Oh, yeah, because it's a flat track, technically real simple,
Yeah.
linear motors,
Yeah.
goes very fast, 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Florida, you want to sit in front of a fan. No, just ride the people wherever you got a fan, yes.
Yes, and you spend a good couple minutes inside Space Mountain, so it's dark and kind of
That was the
cool.
coolest thing to me. I didn't know that was coming the first time I rode it. So I was inside Space Mountain, and I'm like, oh, this is like the ride happening around me.
Yes, because I don't
Yeah.
think we ever got to ride it at Disneyland. I don't.
No.
No,
I think it was
so.
gone before we remember Disneyland very well. Or before,
Yes.
before our
Yes,
memory.
At the very
before.
least, before a memory.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we never got to ride that attraction, but it is an iconic attraction.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Some cool ways.
Yeah. All right. So you've obviously done a ton of projects. Do you have a favorite one that you've done over time?
Oh,
I know it's a hard one.
That's a hard question.
that's
What
an
is Bob's favorite?
instantaneous answer.
Ooh.
Really?
Okay, I told you I knew Ward Kimball a couple of years before I went to work for Disney.
Yeah.
One day he asked me to come down and drive his 1916 American La France fire engine in a parade in Temple City.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So cool.
Well, if you're like 20 years old and you drive a fire engine, you forever want one, but you're never going to be rich enough to have one like Ward Kimball.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Walt would come into my office, sit down, and maybe twice a week. It was a very, very nonchalant relationship there. Walt would rock around our studio all the time in the back lot.
Yeah.
And one day there was a kind of a dead moment. And I says, Walt, we don't have a fire engine on Main Street anymore because we had the horse-drawn ones,
Right.
which they're authentic and they look right, but they're not practical.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he goes, no, Bobby, we don't. And he walked out, and about 20 minutes later, the accounting lady phoned up and says, Bob, here's a number. Write it down. This is the accounting number to proceed with the fire engine project. And I thought, oh, my God, I'm going to get a fire engine. Yeah, it was just a spur-of-the-moment comment.
Wow.
Yeah.
We don't have.
Right.
And then, of course, jump right on it. And fire engine is very easy because I had the yellow car and a red car.
Yeah.
The basic chassis, powertrain, transmission, all that stuff is all the same. Same stuff.
Yeah.
Fire engine, you stretch it out and put dualies on the back end and fatter tires, so it looks really cool.
Yeah.
And then I went down to a bus company that had a fire coach division. They had a 38 Chevy with all this antique equipment on it.
Yeah.
And the guy would sell it to me for $150. So we drove it out to the
Wow.
studio, leaky radiator and everything on it. We stripped it all off. So on that fire engine day, that is antique fire equipment that I got the whole kit and caboodle and the 38 Chevy for $150.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
So that is real stuff on the Disneyland. We had to kind of find similar stuff for Walt Disney World.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the drivers, Steve Finley, I think he's driven that thing for 48
Yes.
years.
Yeah.
I love Steve. We still
yes.
ride with him up Main
Yeah.
Street all the time. Whenever we walk into the park and Steve's driving, we jump on.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny thing. The fire engine had a life that started with just a sudden, say, we don't have.
Yeah.
And then it was, let's do it. I drove it down the freeway to deliver it in 1958.
Wow.
And came home by
Incredible.
helicopter, for delivering it. And a guy like Steve, he fell in love with it. And 4 or 5 years ago, early before our park opened one morning, they asked me to come down. They said, what are we going to do? The guys are going to throw a birthday party for their fire engine.
Wow.
I thought
Whoa.
this fire engine had so many people loving it for a great number of reasons. I thought, how absurd. Why would you throw a birthday party for a truck? But they did.
I love it.
And then, of course, the other observation, there was a famous photograph of Walt
Yes.
in the fire engine with his friend Mickey Mouse front of the castle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it has a closed loop.
It does.
That's a good one.
Absolutely.
That is such a staple of Disneyland, though.
And
that fire engine.
they've sent it
Yeah.
out so many times to parades around town.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember about maybe 15 years ago, I was in Long Beach, a parade, and I saw in the distance, I saw a little tiny fire engine coming. And when it got close enough, I thought, oh my God, that's mine. That's mine. And there was such a little tiny thing. I didn't realize how tiny it was. but I wanted it to fit the scale of Main Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't make it real big. You make it just where it's just enough that it looks about right. Big headlights, of course.
Yes.
Of
things
course,
like
Yeah.
yeah. Oh.
That's such a classic look. I love that that's your favorite
I love that
project.
it was like your dream project that you got to throw in there and say, hey, this should be in Main Street.
Well, and now
Yeah.
it's iconic
And now, yeah.
and like connected to Disneyland and to
Yeah.
Main Street. It's almost synonymous with Disneyland and Main Street.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
We saw it actually at the Rose Parade a couple
We
years
did.
ago. It
Yeah.
was driving
Yeah.
down. Probably
Oh, that's
20
right. They did have it in the Rose Parade.
Yeah.
I've ridden in 3 different parades as the Grand Marshal in
Oh, wow.
different
Okay.
cities
Wow.
riding it.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
You get on, you're like,
Oh.
"Hi, old friend." I'm
And
back.
on the 70th birthday, they gave me a really good ride down Main Street and back. In
We
the
were
fire
there for
engine.
that.
Nice.
Oh, you did?
Yes,
Yes.
we were walking behind you in the giant crowd that was following you down Main Street. That was a special moment.
Well,
yeah.
that was an extremely special moment because nobody warned me. We're done
Really?
with an interview. Okay, I'm going to get my scooter and go backstage now. And they said, no, come on. We want you to ride the fire engine. It was a plot. Nobody told me.
I
Wow.
love
But
that.
I remember, usually at parade, you're supposed to stay on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Well, the minute that vehicle started moving, look at this, a wall of smartphones all doing this. You don't see, all you see is smartphones following you, and it's like a Grand Canyon of smartphones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is all I saw at first was all the people with smartphones.
All the
up.
phones. I'm like,
I'm
what
Yeah.
are we here for?
Who's on the
Yeah.
fire engine? I'm like, it's Bob.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
That was
gosh,
a
that
big
was so
one.
fun.
Reminds me of the first time we met Bob. I don't
Yeah.
know if you remember the first time we met, but
I sure do.
this is one of my favorite stories.
Yes.
But
We're gonna jump from 1959 to 2019.
Yeah.
that's kind of a big jump.
That is
It
a big
is a
jump,
big jump.
but I think it's worthy. It's pretty fun.
It was the first time we met you. You were filming for the Imagineering story, which we didn't quite know at the time, but we kind of did. That
Yeah.
you were filming for the
We
Imagineering
didn't
story.
know what it was, but it was you and it was a bunch of cameras. That's
Yes.
what we knew.
And so it'll be kind of fun. You'll have to tell us from your perspective what happened. But from our perspective, we saw you walking towards the Matterhorn, and we walk up and we say, "Hey, we would love to say hi to Bob and get a selfie with him. We love his work." And they say, "No pictures, no pictures." And then Leslie Iwerks walks up and she goes, "If you sign this release, you can take pictures." And we go, "We will
Okay.
sign the release."
Yeah.
So we
We
signed the
did too.
documents and we got to walk up and talk to you and say hi and get our selfie. And then they had this giant camera filming us doing it the entire time. And then I think right after that, we said bye. You guys headed off towards the Matterhorn, and then
We just freaked out. We were
just-
so excited.
And then we just waited until it aired.
well, yeah. After that moment, we were curious if we were ever going to see it in the Imagineering story, but
Yes, but then we were in episode 6. We made it into the Imagineering story. So
Yeah.
it was really fun for us in that moment because after meeting you, we like didn't know if the footage was ever going to be seen, except that other people were coming up to us because they obviously were taking pictures of you, but they were recording our moment where we met you. So it was pretty funny because for a long time we would go around and they're like, "How do you know Bob Gurr?
You're
Like,
the family that met
You're
Bob
the family.
Gurr."
Are you
Yeah.
related to him or like what is it?" And we're like, "No, we just really think he's awesome," and walked up and the moment was just right. But I think we should get a little bit of Bob's perspective on how that went down.
I would love
Yeah.
because he said he remembers the moment. So I'd love to hear your perspective
Well,
on that.
as you can appreciate, that was like 2.5-hour movie in several segments.
Yeah.
It started out to be only a 90-minute movie years before,
Wow.
in which Leslie Iwerks had done all the principal photography over several years.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became obvious from the amount of material that she was collecting that Bob Iger made the decision, whoa, we want to look at this again. And they decided to expand it into a moldable thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they were going to go ahead with Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So all this was a change to what was really started a long time ago.
Wow.
Obviously, when you are very close to your finished edit on a big project, there's a bunch of what we call pickup shots that you got to go back and get.
Yeah.
And
Right.
there were 2 segments, one for another person and myself. They had to do it again, but in the middle of winter, it's raining all the time, and they had one day that it suddenly stopped raining. Oh, it called everybody, they called the crew, and everybody came down there.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So we were walking around from one place to another, and then we come to the Matterhorn.
Uh-huh.
And the way Leslie I works, instead of having a script,
Yep.
she looks at the set and setting, okay, and she's thinking, and then she talks with her photographer. The two of them discuss, well, what do we do this? What do we do that? What do we? And the rest of her are just standing around waiting for the decision.
Right.
And in the middle of that, in front of the Matterhorn, all of a sudden this blue wall approached.
Yep. That was us.
That was us. Yeah.
And I pointed out to Leslie, and I says, "Oh my God, look at this!" Because it was like I never saw a thing with all the T-shirts all printed special together, like one big floating squadron of fans.
That's us.
And it was very funny. Normally, where we're shooting, and this has happened in the past, you don't approach the crew or the talent.
Right.
But when you go around Disneyland, I did it at Walt Disney World, you got a couple of wagons full of equipment and boom mics and people carrying stuff. That looks enticing.
It does.
And then it's like, oh, who's with them? And then they go, oh my God, it's Bob Gurr with a whole. So we attract attention, like a burning barn.
Yes.
And then and you walk right into the burning barn scene of people.
Yes.
While we were waiting for decisions of a director and a photographer.
Oh.
But she could see that she was still thinking. You were there and you were polite. And that's where suddenly that popped up, oh, just hand the kids an NDA and let them talk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you were not, we got the signal where you are not interfering with the shoot.
Good. Cool.
Okay,
Good. We
so
did not want to.
Yeah, she made that decision now. Right there.
Yeah.
Okay, that bought you about 15 minutes.
Yeah. We had a great time to chat
Well,
with you.
you milked it to no end, yes. So anyway, and then she made her decision, so we had to cut, and then so I got away from you. Then we finally went and did the rest of the shoot. Yeah.
Wow. And that was
That's
a
so
cool
fun.
moment for us because we didn't know if we would actually make it into the shot because a lot of times they film things, but you never know if you make it into the finished product. And your big episode was episode 1 where they talked.
Two.
Oh, 2. You're right. Episode 2.
Yeah.
Where they talk about a lot of the things you did. So we're like, all right, we're going to be in episode 2. It's Bob. And we weren't in it. We're like, oh, it's okay. We got left in the cutting room floor.
At least we got the selfie.
Yeah.
And then episode 6 comes out, and our friends in Australia are texting us because they had seen it. Because they're
already?
like,
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
And they're like, we saw you in the Imagineering story. We're like, no way. So then episode 6 is
You
at
have
the
to
end.
wait for the sun to go around the Earth, or no, the Earth is spin in front of the sun, so you can see that you're on there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, the funniest thing to me about that story is that you remember it as a big blue wall because we more often wear orange than blue.
But that day.
we were filming something that needed blue, so we were in our blue shirts.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
that was the moment.
actually the first thing our family on the East Coast texted us. They're like, "Why aren't you in orange?
You always wear orange.
Always wear orange."
I thought we looked nice in blue.
Oh, we
It
did
was
look good in
We
blue.
did.
I loved the blue.
And we actually
But it was
ran
just
in.
funny.
We ran into Leslie probably a few 8 months ago. Probably almost
Probably
at
about
this
a year
point.
ago,
Oh,
yeah.
at this point. But we ran into her and we're like, "Hi, I don't know if you remember us, but we're the family. This is the end of the Imagineering story." And she goes, "Of course I remember you. I'm the one that put you into the."
Yeah.
She said, I stared at your
stared
face.
at that footage for days.
That was so
Yeah, she
funny.
said, I stared at your footage for days trying to figure out where to put you in the movie.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I always thought afterwards, because I've seen you a whole bunch of times, because Ernie and I would be down there shooting our stuff for Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're walking along trying to mind our own business. And I said, Ernie, oh my God, here they come again. So we have to
These
stop and have a
guys.
big conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's always been very funny that way.
Yeah. Mhm.
But in retrospect, I keep thinking, I said, people say, how do you get in the movies? How do you do that? I said, well, I'll give you a hint. You get a bunch of T-shirts and you walk like a squadron and you walk right into a movie set. And all of a sudden, you are handed within a few minutes an NDA and you're in.
Yep.
There you go.
I would have said that is totally awesome. Now, when you
Yeah.
do that stuff,
That is.
Yeah,
You're,
it is.
You're exposing our secret. No.
They say
my gosh,
luck
yeah.
favors the prepared. They're like,
Yes, Edna mode. I love that.
yeah, big time.
That's still one of our favorite memories.
Oh my
You know,
gosh,
we
it really
tell
is.
that story as many times as possible until we're like, all right, if we're gonna have Bob on the show, we have to tell the story of the first time we met him.
Yeah,
'cause
Bob, your perspective just made the story even better. So thanks for sharing that with
Yes.
us.
Well, memories. I have so many memories of that whole career at Disney. There's two kinds of memories.
Yeah.
You'll have the ones from the time you're a little kid. That are, the memories are the ones that go, oh my God, I can't believe I just did this, and you're really turned on.
Yeah.
And the other one is a memory, but these are like big stepping stone achievements, like one thing after another marching along.
Yeah.
One of the questions we like to ask our guests, which is actually perfectly timed for this, is we like to say, what is like your I can't believe this is my life moment? Like when you looked up and you're just like, wow, I can't believe I get to do this every day. And I was actually wondering what
I told you, cars and airplanes.
Yeah.
Those are the trigger points.
Yeah.
1945, I was at an air show,
Wow.
and they were taking people up in gliders.
Wow.
I didn't have enough money until my grandmother came back and picked me up. She just dropped me off at airport and leave me on my own for a day.
Yeah.
And then she gave me the rest of the money. I went over to get the glider ride, and they said, I'm sorry, kid, we were shut down for the day.
Oh,
wow.
And there was a pilot standing there real quiet, and he says, come on, kid, keep your money, come with me.
Oh, that's
And we walked
so
out
sweet.
to a 1946 Luscombe Silver Air. I knew what airplanes were. I knew all about them.
Yeah.
And he says, come on, kid, I like to go up at sunset.
Wow.
Took off in this little airplane, got up a little bit, saw seeing what it looks like from an airplane. And he says, hey, kid, you want to fly it?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I knew enough from reading about it. You put your feet on the pedals, and you have this stick, the chrome stick with a little wooden ball on it. And I just started doing this.
Whoa.
And
gosh.
he says, keep flying.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that was so incredible. And then about 1962, I joined a glider club. Because I want to finally learn how to fly gliders.
Yeah.
And the first thing you do, you go up with an instructor.
Yeah.
And you can either go up by airplane, it'll tow you up with a rope, or there's a thing called a winch, and that's a big cable.
Yeah.
There's a motorized thing here, and with the winch, will pull the glider up and launch it like that, up in a real steep angle.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to stay up there, you train for 8 hours before
wow.
they'll sign you
Oh my
off.
gosh.
On 4 hours and 44 minutes, the instructor gets out of the back seat of the thing, to place a World War II trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Closed the lid before I had a chance to catch my thought. And it was like, I'm going to solo. We're not ready yet.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and he
my
just
God.
closed the lid. He says, go. And I
Oh,
remember the
man.
plane took off, and I went up with this cable, and you go, up, like I let the cable go, and then I started to fly back toward where the landing, and I come back down. I was so elated. Oh,
Yeah.
I flew an airplane for the first time by myself. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I come down and I land, and all the guys in the club are in a big argument. They all jumped on the instructor. They says, no, you let him go too soon. He's pretty sloppy. And then I remember the instructor told the other guys, they said, well, he's awful sloppy, but he ain't dangerous. I found out later I flew so sloppy he wanted to get out of it.
Yeah.
So here was the thing. They saw that side. My side was, whoopee! I just soloed. Nobody's paying attention. So
Wow.
my great moment. Everybody's back was turned.
That's great.
Oh my gosh!
That's really
I
fun.
had a couple other ones there. Oh yeah, memories. Okay, now we start to do something important.
Oh, yeah.
And get recognized. The FIA, Themed Entertainment Association,
Yeah.
late 1990s,
Yeah.
they said, oh, it's time for you to get the Lifetime Achievement Award. And I thought,
Wow.
go to a big place with a tuxedo and a Beverly Hills restaurant, and,
Yeah.
and there's all these awards, and I never visualized I did anything. I win anything like an award.
Yeah.
And then after a while, 5 years later, Disney legend.
Yes.
Wow.
I was going to ask about that as well because
Oh, that was now we're getting really serious.
that's
Yeah.
a
It's
really
a
big deal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we had the opportunity to go on that lot, and your hands are there like forever in Disney
Yeah.
history, and That is just really cool.
That's when they had the Legends ceremony. It was a private ceremony in the courtyard of Legends. And of course they moved it, where you can sell tickets on it later.
Yeah.
And then after that, the other one which I really, really remember, which you probably won't believe it, I got to drive a antique steam engine
Wow.
at the Santa Margarita Ranch, and guess what it was pulling? 3 of the Disneyland passenger train cars.
Wow.
That's
I
so
watched
cool.
those cars get built at Disneyland.
Yeah.
I designed the train that replaced them,
Wow.
and I'm on an 1896 Baldwin locomotive.
Wow.
There was a big event up at the ranch.
Yeah.
And the engineer, fella sitting on the right side, got off and he sat on the left side. And he says, "Come on up there, Bob. Come on, sit on that side." And I thought, this is where the engineer sits. He's the fireman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says, "We got to go. Drive."
Whoa.
Man.
I'm the
Yeah,
engineer?
there's a lot of things you can do wrong with a steam engine. I won't get
yeah.
into the technical side. But I knew just enough because I read Steve Gaetano's book, How Steam Engines Work or Not.
Yes.
But it was a sudden
Or not's
thing.
important.
Sit in there, you drive. You ring the bell, toot toot, and tricky. You got to open that throttle just a certain way.
Yeah.
And you have to get it just right because you can only go like that.
Yeah.
And listen to the steam fill the cylinders. It goes. Did another couple of clicks, and you watch the ground start to move out from under your wheels. Oh.
I'm making it do this?
Yeah.
Oh, then we come around the corner, and he said, "Okay, you're crossing the road. Blow the whistle for crossing,
Yeah.
and then start down the hill." And he says, "How do you know when you're going to put the brakes on?" Oh, not where you sit is the center of gravity of the train. It's way behind you.
Yeah.
Really?
Everything is lead, lag, nothing happens quick. Everything is 1890s.
Wow.
Drove it around, came back up the hill on the other side, and I says, "Okay, well, you can shut it down now." And I
Yeah.
thought, "Oh my God, I did the whole thing," and the guy would not tell me one thing. And he
Wow.
was waiting for me to make a big mistake, and I
And
didn't.
you never did.
Yeah.
It's because you were prepared. You showed
were
up
prepared.
knowing how to do
I
it.
mean, that has got to be as good as that first time flying an airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I
absolutely.
flew for 50 years flying gliders.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Now, the last one, my big memory, you will never guess.
Okay.
Okay.
I am
Should we
part
try?
of official Americana as a vinyl toy. I'm a Funko Pop.
Oh, that's so
awesome.
That is a
man.
cool one.
I'm sure so we are not Funko Pops, but we did the pop yourself, and I
Yes,
signed
yes.
one that's me.
There's an Adam,
I got
right? Well, okay.
Adam, but you're like
I got the real one.
Yep.
Yeah, he
You got
does.
the real
Yeah.
one.
The real one.
Yeah, they made 3,000 of those just for last year.
Wow.
Yeah,
gosh.
we still got a few left down at Phantom Productions.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're gonna need to get
We're
our
gonna have
hands
to
on a Bob
visit.
Gurr.
I think I
definitely
got
need
three
one of those.
of them hidden under my desk.
Yeah, it's like I want them.
No,
I mean,
no,
you. I mean,
no,
you want them.
no,
I
no.
mean, you want them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but this is a silly thing about the memories.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, absolutely.
But the achievement memories are totally, totally different.
Yeah.
Let me suggest what those are. A designer. Designers have their own joy that's silent.
Right.
Yes.
Knowing what they created. Autopia car. I put the little body on the little chassis, starting in 1954, 1955 Disneyland, cute little sports car, like a little baby Ferrari.
Nice.
Just right. My first car.
Yeah.
I mean, the body and the mechanical part.
Wow.
Usually you don't
Nice.
get the chance to do the two at the same time.
Right.
So that was the big designer thing.
Wow.
So
And
cool.
then
That's pretty cool.
Walt wants a monorail. Well, by that time, I know what I'm doing finally. And,
Yeah.
Oh, we whip out a monorail. Well, we do the monorail Mark 1, the Mark 2, the Mark 3, and the Mark 4 for Florida.
Yeah.
So it's a big 5 years of monorails. I thought, wow, I never went to engineering school.
Yeah, and you built 4 monorails.
I'm not qualified
Yeah.
to do public transit. Nobody asked, nobody died, so I got away with it.
Public transit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, in the middle of all this stuff, Walt says, Bobby, I want you to get an Abraham Lincoln, the president that works.
Wow.
Totally different world. I had to stop and figure out humans, where do the joints go, all this stuff.
Yeah.
You're like,
Very,
oh my
very
God.
fast job. I'm already busy with everything else. Took out 90 days to design a whole body, not the head, not the hands. That had been working for years, trying to get a mechanical body to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a last-minute throw-in job for the New York World's Fair.
Wow.
And the doggone thing worked.
Wow.
People could not believe you could get a robot
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah.
That
And then-
looked like a president. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other big one was a worldwide night, 15-minute show, flying saucer, closing ceremony of the Olympics. 90 million people watching something that didn't know whether it worked or not, but it worked. Phew. See, normally it's something we've got to last for years. 15 minutes. Whoa, job's done, job's done.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just has to work for the Olympics.
That
That's
was
it.
so spooky. Next one was easy. 30-foot tall animated King Kong. Nobody
Oh.
builds a giant machine.
Yeah.
It was so easy. The bigger it gets, the easier it gets if you know what you're doing. all
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the King was there for 21 years, something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
And I forgot you did that until I saw your movie.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't believe yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah. It was people still remember it. You know,
Yeah.
it scared the kids to death.
Yeah.
And the
That
last
would've been-
last big one was.
Yeah.
By this time, I'm used to people with ridiculous ideas.
Yeah.
A guy in Las Vegas says, I'm sinking a ship on Las Vegas. I want a pirate battle show. I'm not going to put it in the back in case it doesn't work. It's going to be on the sidewalk because it's going to never fail, Mr. Gurr.
Yeah.
Yes, Steve, it'll
Never fail. I promise. It'll never fail.
Yeah. Complicated job, but with 22 different trades working on it. I mean, it's got all the things you don't want to do. Electrical cables underwater, live people, captain going down with the ship,
Yes.
big explosions, all kind of rules, regulations, and everything. And I'm drawing up not just the concept. The winning bidder to build the whole thing, he asked me, would you do the production drawings?
Whoa.
And I said, look, I've worked my way to a chief engineer. I'm president of the Gurr Design Company.
Yeah.
You want me to be a draftsman?
Yeah.
He says, yes.
I'm
Oh,
like, okay.
man.
Yeah.
All right.
I went up to a peak and I went all the way to the bottom of where I started, a mechanical drafter, and I made all the drawings for both ships.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it all worked. I got paid, and I just smiled. And it,
Life was good.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Right.
so, yeah, you want to know the cycle of life. Cycle of life goes from a car to a president to flying saucers to a battle show and a King Kong.
That's pretty epic.
That's awesome.
That's
So,
so cool.
how would I have ever chosen a goal?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No way.
Yeah, you're right. Because you never would, grow up saying, "I want to design a King Kong" or "I want to design
A president.
a president or
Yeah.
a Matterhorn." It just kind of happens over time as you go through life and you get new opportunities.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the point, which is about Imagineers. One of the key things about them is, much like Walt, curiosity
Yeah.
and have a lot of guts to never say no when somebody asks you to do something
Yeah.
and you already know you've never done it and you're not qualified.
Yeah.
At that moment, somebody thinks you could
Yeah.
say yes.
Yeah.
Then you
Yes.
go home and tell your wife, oh, I just signed up for something. How am I going to do this?
How?
But if you're observant and you're curious, and you've been that way all your life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you will find all the things you don't know in order to fill in with the things you already know, and you'll be surprised. You can go do stuff you never thought you would ever do, and when it's done, it's like nothing to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing to it but to do it.
That's
right?
amazing.
Absolutely.
That's
That's
such an
awesome.
incredible part about being an Imagineer. And I think obviously you're like one of the best at it ever. But whether it was Walt Disney or other projects that you had, someone came in and you didn't stop to think, is this possible or will it be hard? You just said, okay. You just said, let's do it. And then obviously maybe there were some pieces, trial and error, different things. But your projects always ended up working, even if they're electrical cords underwater, which sounds like it would never work, right?
Right.
But that's so unique that like your whole path, Walt would just be like, I think we need a monorail. And you're like,
Well,
I
this,
guess.
this goes
guess we're
back to
figuring
what
it
I
out.
said earlier about when I first saw there was going to be a park, and a picture in the LA Times, and then seeing what's going to be involved.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same today when you have a big job like that, jobs I mentioned.
Yeah.
The job is so outrageous, you're interested and thinking, boy, if they ever built something like that, I'd sure go.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it turns out you got the job. Now you're driven more by the enthusiasm of seeing it getting done.
Yeah.
And if you wind up being the guy that's doing it, the major part of something, and
Yeah.
everybody else cooperating along with it, it's a self-feeding enthusiasm rolling it along until it has an opening night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
incredible.
inspiring. And I
Yeah.
think this is great advice for anyone who wants to be an Imagineer. But I think whatever you do in life, I think this is just great advice for whatever you want to accomplish in life. You know, if there's something that you want to watch or something you want to do, then make it happen. You know, say yes to opportunities and
Yeah.
figure it out later. You know,
Yeah.
and say, yeah, I can make that happen, and be like, how am I
How?
going to make that
How
happen?
am I going to make that happen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's great advice, and I think that leads to accomplishing incredible things like building a giant King Kong or a monorail or
Yeah.
a president or
Well,
So
and
speaking
the
of
most
which-
interesting thing to me is that this wasn't a career path when you started. It was a whole new thing.
That's
and
true,
now
yeah.
our generation, even generations before us, this is like what they want to do with their life.
yeah,
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
dream job is to become an Imagineer, but when you became an Imagineer, it wasn't actually a job. You just kind of like it didn't exist at the time.
It's
right?
just designing.
It was just design or different things, and then
So you almost kind of designed that career path for yourself
I
and
know.
all these other people.
I know all these people that now grow up wanting to be Imagineers are trying to figure out how to do what you did, which is so fascinating.
Well, I get that all the time. Yeah, I do enough public appearances where you did the bus tour for years.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we did do
Yeah.
your bus tour and loved it.
What happens is a Disney fan with children will walk up, and it's very natural. They'll always say, Bob, what my child wants to be an Imagineer. What can you offer?
Yes.
And when I first started to answer it, I was very polite. You don't want to lead somebody on with possibilities when you know doggone well there is no possibility. That's
Right.
Right.
It's nice, but it's dishonest, very dishonest.
Yeah, yeah.
To lead on a talentless person.
Yes.
Seek another thing in life. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But seriously, what I'll do, the child might be kind of short or kind of tall, different ages and stuff, boys or girls. And the mother will say, well, what can you tell my child about being to be an Imagineer?
Yeah.
And I'll put on my sarcastic hat and I'll look at him and I says, in a snappy method, I'll say, what turned you on when you were 5 years old?
Yeah.
There's only two answers.
Uh-huh.
One person who does not have the curiosity will look at their parent and go, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one was, I'd love to do this. I'd love to do that. Then
Yeah, I
I
love
look
to
at the
draw, I
mother,
love
and
to
the mother's
paint,
going, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And then there's a conversation about that child is driven.
Yeah.
It wants to do something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, what if you're not really like that? I said, well, okay. Reality is, and I look at the kid again. I says, kid, you want to pick out the best parents that you can get because you need some DNA you can use.
Ah.
Yes.
It's
And
the
about
parents.
that time, the two
Yeah.
parents go, ooh, that was a cut. However, it is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That DNA has got to be there, and it's got to be worked.
Yeah.
And when I mean work, that means don't stand around texting on one of these infernal machines. Lateral information back and forth. Every minute you do that, you are not bringing into your brain potential useful information.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Use that in your hand as a research tool to constantly look at all the things that might be of interest.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is the person who is curious and is collecting useless information, that person is in a good spot when somebody says, say, I want you to start doing this project
Yeah.
for us. You already in your mind, you go, oh, I know enough about quite a bit of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And,
Like
and
somebody-
then you will say yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you haven't, it's too intimidating, and you say, well, I'm not qualified and we haven't been trained in that. Well, you just closed off a career right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just close the
It's
door.
like somebody looking at you and saying, hey, drive the steam engine. And you kind of had an idea of how to do that because you read up on it and
I
studied
read up on it.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit,
You
right?
didn't say, I've never driven one of these before. You're like,
I got it.
I got this.
I got it.
We'll
Yeah.
figure this out.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think
Yeah,
it's
that
very
can-do
important
attitude.
to just have it, like you said, a can-do attitude of yes, I can make that. I can learn how to do that.
Yeah.
But let's say it doesn't quite work out. Everybody has a dream. Oh, I want to be an Imagineer or something in some trade somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
And let's say it doesn't quite work. Well, that's okay. You at least took off in some kind of a direction, respond to
Yeah.
an invitation. And if it doesn't, if you have kept your antenna up and your blinders wide open,
Yes.
Yeah.
the thing I noticed with a lot of people I've grown up with, and at least in my case, the best stuff comes out of left field or right field with no forecast that it was coming your way.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
closed off and you want to follow your goal only and not be diverted into other stuff, you're going to miss it. But to have that antenna up, blinders open, and somebody comes up with a goofy sounding thing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
doesn't go here, it touches right here.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, ooh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Like a
but
submarine.
if you say I'm not trained
like
in
a
that, it's like, no, I make an intelligent decision not to get involved in something like that.
Right.
You miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. And I think that's something that not everybody, it's not widely understood that Imagineering, you don't always know what your next project's going to be. You don't always know what they're going to ask you to do. And a lot of times they're pushing the envelope of what's possible. Even, currently the company, there's a lot of different new technology, but they're creating things that have never been created before.
Yeah.
And so you have to not be able to say, well, I can't do that because it's never been done before. It's like, no, that's why you're here, is to learn
Figure
how to
out.
do things
That's
that have
why
never been done.
it's not engineering, it's Imagineering.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
you're using your imagination to figure out how to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what happens if it doesn't seem like it's working? If you got that curiosity, you've got that antenna up,
Yeah.
you are in tune with stuff that shows up that was not on your career path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it touches you, like I say right here, let's go follow up. And then you get used to following up all these things. And guess what? Your career path will have written itself by the time your career's over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to end up doing things maybe that are a lot less creative or a lot less visionary if you don't kind
Yeah.
of stay ahead of that I can do
Yeah.
anything mentality.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was, I never visualized I'd wind up in a movie.
Yeah. I know. You have.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, with all this stuff, I got all this fun to do all this crazy stuff. I never thought I'd wind up in a movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's something you never visualize.
No.
But over the years, of course, you go on YouTube and there's all kinds of stuff been recorded
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
people want to know the answers to questions. A lot of that. So I was in the habit of turning down anybody who said, "Let's do a movie."
Uh-huh.
And I just did it as a general thing.
Yeah.
And then finally, one guy pestered me several times, and then one day he and another producer type of guy and my manager Ernie Alonso,
Yeah.
they came up, and the three of them were all sitting down and tried to talk me into it.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
I says, "Well, I told you I'm not interested, but I'll listen, but I won't ask much."
Okay.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that conversation was, "Well, if you want to talk again, I would probably talk again."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Well, if you had an idea, why don't you put it on a single sheet of paper, a whole synopsis of a movie on a sheet of paper?"
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a push. Yeah.
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 And we know
That
how
takes
you
a
like
lot.
your blank pages. So.
So they said, they says, "Okay." And then I guess a month or so later, we met in a nice restaurant down in the city of Orange, and walked in there, and everybody's there at the table again. And I says, "You got your synopsis?" And they pulled out a piece of paper, and I says, "Okay, don't read it. Just tell me. You got 90 seconds."
Wow.
Wow.
He made him pitch you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they had the 90 seconds down pat.
Wow.
Wow.
The thrust and the why and the kicker.
Wow.
That's great.
And I said, now it's like oh, I'm going to have to go through the movie. I don't. But anyway, I said, okay, I don't want to interfere, but just tell me the date, the call time, and the costume, and I'll be there.
Nice.
And it was that way the whole time. So we did one shoot, one location after another. We drive to Palm Springs to look at Walt's airplane.
Yeah.
We go back to where I was raised as a little kid.
Yeah.
We go to the Grand Central Airport where I saw airplanes, on and on. We did a lot of location shoots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I couldn't make heads or tail of where it's going. I just said, well, I know what I was in front of the camera. I don't know anything where it's going.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of time went by, and then they said, okay, we're going to have a premiere
Oh, wow.
over in Glendale.
Yeah.
Where are you going to do it? Alex Theater.
Yes.
Oh, whoopee. My father's store was in the next block.
Oh, wow.
My
yeah, I
little
remember
my
you-
little
yeah.
sister and I, when we were 8 or 9, we used to run around the Alex Theater.
Wow.
Because it's a cool place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it
that
is.
was like a close emotional place for you.
Oh, yeah, and I thought, well, of all the places you could have done this.
What
I
an
was
incredible
already
full
with,
circle
I
moment.
knew that theater as a
Yeah.
little kid. I also knew that Walt Disney, they kind of let him do pieces of cartoons
Oh, yeah.
just to see if something would work. So they had a good relationship.
Wow.
So they says, okay, so I think they made the producer a deal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it didn't cost so much to make a movie.
Yeah.
But it was a red carpet and, the brass parts and stuff on the big backdrops. It was a full-blown thing, and I had a
It
brand
was.
new white tux and all that
You
kind
look
of stuff.
fantastic, and you had your
You
red
did.
shoes,
Oh, yeah.
your iconic red
Yeah.
shoes on.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
were honored to be there at your premieres. That was such a fun
my
event to
gosh.
be at, and I loved the movie. I thought it was
Yeah, it was great.
It's Bob Gurr living by design, right? So he talks a lot about designing cars, and Jay Leno was in it for a little bit, which
That was
that was a
cool.
cool segment
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, and just
Uh,
kind of hearing the story was so cool.
Yeah.
And I love that it was in such an emotional place for you too at the premiere to be at that theater. I love that full circle moment kind of thing, and
Yeah.
just so magical.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was great. We really enjoyed going. We were very happy to be at such a cool event and cheer you on. That was a fun
And
one.
actually, our grandparents were in town, and they got to come too.
Yes.
And so
Oh.
there were 7 of us in the audience for your movie, and they loved it. They thought it was the coolest thing. The whole ride back home, they were talking about the movie. They're like, "It was so
yeah.
good." And-
Well, anyway, I had some opinions of the movie, finally.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I said I won't interfere, but I'm going to interfere now.
oh yeah.
Right.
So I called the director over, and I said, come over, I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, yeah, it's a cute movie. It's really good. But
Yeah.
there's 1 minute it has to be removed because it doesn't contribute.
Interesting.
And I told him what it was, and he says, you're right.
Wow.
I just snip. Snip is easy.
yeah.
Okay. And then I said, you got the wrong V8 sound. Your V8, American V8 engine sucks.
Oh,
I'll get you a better one.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
I nosed around. I found a 1970 Oldsmobile 442 where the guy was not racing the engine
Right.
because it hides the whole thing.
Right.
It's an idle, and the guy just kind of gives it, gooses a little bit. Vroom, vroom,
Yeah.
chop, chop, chop. Vroom, vroom. A little bit of this.
Yeah.
So the second time the movie was shown, it had the piece cut out. Now it had a real American V8 sound.
Yeah.
Big Oldsmobile. you know.
Yeah. Like, that's the car I want in my movie.
So I
I
thought
love
that
that.
was kind of cool. The
Yeah.
movie's finished. It's already being shown. And I asked him to cut something and add something, and he did it.
yeah.
There you go.
It's like,
Same
whoa.
thing.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. It's like, I want my director credit now.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's going to be in the Newport Beach Film Festival.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes,
That'll
it
be
got
so much fun.
nominated. So
Congratulations.
the director will be down there with that.
Yeah.
I went there years ago. They did a Rolly one.
Yeah.
So I got to see what Rolly got honored that way. And I thought, wow, this movie's good enough to get invited to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next thing that's being talked about is being shown at the animation department over at the Disney studio.
Oh, that's great.
That's very.
That would be really cool.
It's getting a few eyes on it. Yeah.
That's
so-
good.
Good.
I love it.
Congratulations.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a fascinating story, and I think it is really important for people to hear these stories and to continue that that legacy and those memories and different things. So I think it's
Yeah.
really important that your story and your movie gets out there. So I'm glad that it's getting picked up in all these places that could give it the recognition it deserves. So
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing, people always say, "Well, Bob, how do you feel today?"
yeah.
I get it all the time.
Yeah.
So how do you feel
The
today?
weirdest thing, I do not feel 94.
I know.
I was gonna say.
You know.
It has to do with the enthusiasm of life.
Yeah.
Being engaged, you got the whole world to engage with.
Yeah.
And I meet 20-somethings. They're already burned out and brain dead because they think about themselves all the time. They don't think externally about everything in the world that is fascinating.
Yeah.
I am so busy. I have very little free time because I'm following up more doggone things. My big passion is reading books about the origins of civilization.
Wow.
I want to know how humans got this way.
Yeah.
Now
What
I
makes
can
us-
understand the today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To me, that is the most fascinating thing. All the other technical stuff I follow all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to do with airplanes, I sold my airplane 15 years ago because I'm 80 years old and shouldn't be in the air flying anymore.
I get that.
Yeah.
I have a flight simulator at home.
Oh, wow.
I have 22 airplanes and helicopters that I try to stay current with them. I have 20,000 airports around the world. It's called X-Plane, a flight simulator.
Uh-huh.
And I fly these helicopters. My litmus test in life at this age,
Yeah.
if I fail to make flawless landings with a helicopter, then I'm starting to lose it.
Yeah.
So that's my litmus test. I'm nowhere near
Yeah.
breaking that helicopter on a landing. So
Yeah.
Sweet.
I-
Yeah,
it-
so-
it's so
Yeah. We'll knock on wood.
It's so important to just keep learning and to keep
Yes.
keep your mind sharp and I just love that. That's such great advice for people, and I think it's
Yeah.
underappreciated.
It's the curiosity. Walt had curiosity.
Yeah.
This is the important thing. If people should be able to try to be curious, some are automatic curious.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you're curious, you can't stop learning.
Yes.
It's an automatic thing.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
I love it.
One of the
Absolutely.
coolest things about starting the show is hearing stories from the people that we've gotten to talk to that have come on.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. We've had animators that have been on the show that talk about the process of animation, directors and producers and voice actors and now Imagineers like
Yeah.
you and like Bob Weiss earlier. And so it's just so fascinating. And you're right. They all are very curious and they're
Yeah.
all telling stories. And whether their story is, in a theme park, or in an animated movie or
Or a submarine.
or a submarine.
Or a giant King Kong.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. There's a lot of storytellers. And I think storytelling and curiosity kind of goes hand in hand because you're answering questions in your story
Yeah.
that maybe have never been asked before or maybe,
Yeah.
Right.
are often questioned. So,
And honestly, if you're curious, it means you care.
Yeah.
And that leads itself into just such incredible work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps
You
you
know?
going.
It keeps going.
Keeps moving. Keep moving forward. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
being
keep
able to do
moving
that.
forward. Yep.
Yeah,
That's another
absolutely.
important one.
Yeah.
So it's been such an honor talking to you.
Yes,
It has been
thank
so
you very
great
much.
to hear your stories. They've just been wonderful.
Yeah.
Can you have me back when I'm 100?
Yes,
I think so.
I would
Yeah,
love
we'll
to have
do
you
it,
back
yeah.
for
All right.
100. That
At
would be-
least then.
sure,
Maybe
at
we'll
least.
we'll do a halfway checkup too.
Yeah,
At
okay.
97.
95.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like, all right, how you feeling? We'll say, how you feeling today, Bob?
I love it. We would
man.
love to have you back. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this was fun, and I loved your stories very much. Thank
Yeah,
you for
thank you.
taking the time to share your stories with us and your energy, and you are such an inspiration to us. And we just want to say thank you.
I
for
want to
being
bring
here.
up one thing.
Yeah.
At one point, we mentioned that something with Nixon and the monorail would get brought up later.
You're right.
And then
And
it
we
happened.
almost made it to the end. And so, just for the people wondering about your experience with the Secret Service,
Yes.
if you have anything on that, I know it is in your movie, but if you have just like even a short piece on that,
Well, okay, just for your guess might be scattered around the world somewhere where they didn't have a chance to, hear it in the first person.
yeah,
You got to remember, I told you that this monorail, 8.5 months from the time we started it till the time dedication day in June of 1959.
yeah,
And we only had the train on the beam for 2 weeks, and it broke down every day.
Oh, wow.
And there was a German engineer that came over several times to help me with a lot of the technical stuff, like stress analysis, steels, and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So we would be in agony every day. We'd drive the train a bit and something broke or caught fire. At the end of the day, we would retire to the then Disneyland Hotel, a little tiny dinky place with a bottle of Christian Brothers white wine, and figure out what do we need to do. And then we would agree, we'd make sketches of it, and then we'd send the information up to Disneyland on the 10 o'clock truck.
Yes.
And then the graveyard shift in the machine shop would build the parts, and the day truck going down to Disneyland would bring the parts.
Uh-huh.
And this was a rhythm every day for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Find the fix, build the fix, install the fix, test the fix, something else breaks. The day before the opening, the train went one lap around without braking.
Wow.
And I said, I'm not going to put it back in the parking area. I'm going to leave it at the place where we're going to cut a ribbon tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Big program, going to be a 90-minute black and white live TV show across America.
Wow.
With everything to do with Tomorrowland. I'll leave it there. Okay, train's good.
Mm-hmm.
Come back to work in the morning, about 11 o'clock in the morning. It's really hot. Here comes a crowd of people. Walt, Dick, Nixon, the wife, the two girls, our security, and the White House security.
Wow.
That's
the
a lot of people.
president.
And Walt brings them up the ramp to the station and starts telling them about the monorail.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, well, let's get inside. And I, well, just a minute. We got to turn the air conditioner on, so I had to call with the radio, somebody turn the power on so we can get the air conditioner to work for a few minutes.
Yeah.
So we could open the door and get in there.
Right.
We go in, well, sit down, and Walt starts talking, and he says, well, Dick, you know that I'm a steam train guy here. I love to drive the steam train. This is modern, future monorail for America, and I let Bobby drive. Pause. Give him a ride.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
I drove off.
Like, all right. Walt said, let's go.
See, I'm not the regular operator. I'm the test driver.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't have the procedures and the radio codes and all that to communicate with the control center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I drove off.
Yeah. Walt said
all right.
drive, I drove.
In those days, the train would go out, make a slight right turn, make a left turn, come back down over the waterfalls.
Yeah.
And which meant as you come down over the waterfalls and you start a right turn, you can see who is on the platform.
Uh-huh.
In an instant, Vice President Nixon saw there was 5 Secret Service guys, and he let off some rather raw language in front of his family. I learned later that a president or vice president would do anything to ditch the Secret Service, and they're never successful. This was such a easygoing, laid-back, unplanned walk-in, ask, turn it on, sit in, and talk.
Yeah.
No plans were made
Wow.
for me driving off.
Wow.
And the Secret Service was happy to stand there.
Yeah. They're like, oh no.
We left him.
And at the time, they didn't quite know where it was going or when it would be back. And they're like, they just went off with the president. Vice president.
So
Vice
we
president.
bring the train back around. I was on pins and needles, so I was getting ready to stop in the station because in the same spot. And then the girls were excited, and then Walt said, give them another ride. I don't even recall the second lap. We didn't have the procedures for getting people off the pylon in the sub lagoon if the train caught on fire and it stopped there.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
So when I drove through the station, the Secret Service were running trying to get in it.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Then when I came back around and we parked and we all got off, we walked down the down ramp. Nixon turned around and he looked back up. The Secret Service are sitting in the train.
Just arms crossed. So like,
Oh, no.
And then finally they walk away. I walked back up, and the German engineer, his name was Konrad Deller, the guy is just furious.
Yeah.
And he was upset.
Oh, yeah.
And he says something like, he says, Mr. Bob, In Truman even, we test us of all big trains. We spent $7 million marks developing it in 7 years. We never let the public on it. You put your vice president on it. And the poor guy he was just infuriated.
Wow.
All I could say was, Conrad, it's the Disney way.
Yeah, that's
I
the
just
Disney
did
way.
what Walt told me to do.
Yes.
And then, of course, Walt tried to cut the ribbon. The ribbon didn't cut with the big scissors.
Right.
He always has something else. He pulls out the little scissors.
Yeah,
and
cuts the little scissors.
That works.
So, and then the whole train, everybody went away to do the rest of the show. And then the press all came back.
Oh, wow.
I hadn't trained the supervisor of the Monorail yet. And he
Yeah.
hasn't trained any of the drivers. They made me a captain's outfit with a big,
Oh,
a big
wow.
hat.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I drove that train till about 9 o'clock at night with hundreds and hundreds of press thinking any moment this is going to stop on an awkward spot.
It's like, ooh, all the headlines would be like, it
And
doesn't
that
work.
Son of a train, it ran till 9 o'clock. So I got Ken Kohler, the supervisor. Okay, Ken, you know how to drive it now. It's your baby. I'm going home.
Yeah.
And as I was driving out of the harbor gate, I saw a big blue flash. And I told my wife, I'm not going to look back.
I was like, just
I'm
keep
going
driving.
home.
I know what the blue flash was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to get sucked into whatever just
Anyway,
happened.
that was opening day, yes.
Wow.
Oh, man.
That's
incredible. I love
Thank you
it.
for remembering.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic
Because
story.
it's such an awesome story that we have to tell it on the Totally Awesome show.
I
Yes.
know.
Oh, well,
I know.
Make it-
And it just cracks me up that like you guys are now all getting off with the vice president. You're getting off of the monorail, and the Secret Service is like, all right, our turn. Like, let us on. You're like, oh no.
No,
Man,
the
that's funny.
unplanned things that happened operationally were exactly the same as the unplanned design development, as well as the unplanned idea of Walt trying to find people that would follow this idea he had from the 1930s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
wow.
incredible.
And
Yeah.
here it is, 70 years old. this year.
70 years old. And
Yeah.
it is still going strong, and it is
is.
so beloved.
It is. It just
And-
touches people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stories are
Disney
incredible.
magic is so real, and it's touched our life in so many special ways. And Disneyland in particular is really
Yeah.
important to us, and it's been with us our entire life. So as we get go through things, and we just it's such an important thing to us and an important part of our life. So just want to say thank you for all the work you did to build it and to make the magic that we get to live every day.
Well, I'm glad to help you fill in with some of the details
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
way back there, the genesis of all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually was curious because one of the questions people ask us, because we kind of do a lot of Disney trivia with the insiders, and people are always asking us about the basketball hoop at the top of the Matterhorn.
Yes, everyone
And-
always asks us.
And I feel like if everyone's going to ask us, you should hear it
This
straight
is like
from
the real.
you should hear it straight
the
from
real
Bob Gurr,
answer.
the guy
Yes.
who built the Matterhorn.
Exactly.
What's the deal with the basketball hoop up there?
Okay. Well, back in the 90s, I was an outside consultant to Disneyland. So
Oh,
I
cool.
would design pieces of equipment, and they wanted a winch that would haul something up to the top of the little tower
Yeah.
that held the star.
Yeah.
And it was a rainy night, thunder and lightning, and I was down there to install this device that I'd built for it.
Uh-huh.
And I walked in there, and I saw a basketball hoop. I'd heard about. Oh, there really is one here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was a rainy night, but I just knew it was there.
Yeah.
And then when you had met Leslie Iwerks, we
Yeah.
were the pickup shots.
Yeah.
After you walked off, and then we went in the building.
Yeah.
She would ask me to walk from here to there and turn the corner and stop, and then we'll catch up and I'll figure out the next shot.
Yeah.
So we had like 3 sets of stop and figure out the next shot.
Yeah.
So we wound up on the basketball floor,
Mm-hmm.
but it was rain, and they said, "Watch it! It's oil on the floor. It's very slippy, very dangerous." I mean, this is the actual mechanical haunted mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So the thing was, okay, Bob, go past this door, make a left turn around a little wire cage, then make a right and go out of sight, and you'll be off camera range. We're done.
Okay.
So I walk in there. Oh, there's 3 balls on the floor.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm not athletic. Both my rotator cuffs are torn. But I couldn't. I picked up one of the balls, and I gave it the the underhanded
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
the old man launch.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
went bounced off one side. And I pick it up and it went the other and bounced off. And I think I got it. And I went up and it went cleanly right through that hoop.
Wow.
And I screamed and yelled. I was hooping. I was yelling and running around in circles. And the cameraman had walked in there behind me.
Oh, so they caught it all.
He caught it he said, "What's Bob's all upset." And he said, no, and he had this big rig. He came
yeah.
right up behind me with that thing.
Yeah.
And then Leslie was right behind. See, she picks up a shot. She picked up something happened
Yeah.
with no planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was they had it in the can. So,
Yeah.
okay, all
Yeah.
right. And then she says, "Bob, do you ever look at the walls here?" And I said, "No, I never look at it. It's wooden walls. They're covered, every inch is covered in autographs of the cast members.
Wow.
They've autographed their attraction."
Wow.
And she walked me over to a door to the electrical vault.
Yeah.
Nice metal, gray, no signature. She hands me a Sharpie. She just says, "Sign it."
Yeah.
And I says, no. I don't want to start a precedent. If I sign, say everybody else is, I would get in trouble. She just said, "Sign it."
Got it.
Okay.
Sign.
So, and I did not know that was being photographed. Not until
Wow.
I saw it. I said,
yeah.
"We were not supposed to do that."
I will say, that is one of my favorite parts of the Imagineering story,
It
though,
is.
is
It's such a
seeing
cool
you
shot.
up there,
Yeah.
making the shot and then signing the map. It's such
Yeah,
an
it's
emotional
incredible.
part of the
It
show.
really is.
Well, she explained later. She says, because it just flowed.
Yeah.
We were there. It just flowed. She says,
Yeah.
"Bob just signed an important attraction in his life."
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was autographing that building.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
She is an incredible storyteller.
She
Yeah.
really is.
Just
And
being
she's
able.
able to capture things
Yeah.
Right.
can't be scripted,
Right.
And it's
She-
just, she
She
knows.
thinks like, I've known her before she was born.
Really?
Yeah.
because
Think back
Don
to-
Iwerks
Yeah.
Right.
is her father, but Don had a younger brother, Dave.
Uh-huh.
At North Idaho High School, Dave and I were in the same school together.
Yeah.
We were in the same car club together.
Wow.
We would go deep sea fishing and rabbit hunting in Ukaipa with Ub's guns.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was part of that Iwerks family the whole time.
Wow. That's
How
amazing.
cool was it to work on that project with her, though, where she's
Yeah,
like in charge
when-
of it?
Yeah, when she was not even a twinkling in Don's eye,
Yeah.
going back to the 1940s.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Man.
incredible.
That's amazing. What a cool full circle moment to have her be in charge of the Imagineering story. That's got to be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's so
I love
special.
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Great storyteller.
Yes.
Oh,
well,
and last thing I know we wanted to talk about that we forgot was the Haunted Mansion and the Doom Buggies.
Yes.
Before we have to talk about
Oh.
the Doom Buggies.
We do.
What was the inspiration for?
We need a timeline. 'Cause
Yeah.
we kind of stopped in 59.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's the what was the inspiration for the Doom Buggy car, and like what year did you end up building that?
The Doom Buggy was the voyage to inner space 2 years before.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Whoa.
It wasn't haunted.
See, the
Wasn't
Haunted
haunted.
Mansion gets all the publicity, but the voyage to inner space, which premiered the Omnimover Doom Buggy,
Wow.
in blue,
Yeah.
never gets recorded.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. So
That's
you built
very
it for
fair.
that, and then they're like, "Well, we need it for Haunted Mansion, so we painted them black and put them in there, right?"
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you're aware of all the stories, particularly with Rolly Crump and Yale Gracie,
Yeah.
experimenting with gags for a haunted mansion.
Yeah.
It was always going to be a walkthrough for years and years and years, even when they built the building before it became the Haunted Mansion
Yeah.
attraction. And then I designed the Omnimover vehicle, and because this was going to be a story of being shrunken down to a nucleus,
Yeah.
I thought, let's put powered audio in the vehicles. And I thought, oh, why don't we huddle and have this voice? We're getting
Yeah.
smaller and smaller. We're going to see the nucleus. And I thought, I'll make an all-encapsulating car. The car could cuddle you.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
the shape of the car.
Yeah.
So we have a test track at 1401, way out in the back part.
Okay.
Haunted Mansion people came over one day and they took one look and they says, it solves the problem.
Yes.
It'll be
Yeah.
a ride through.
Yeah.
So they,
Yes.
they
That's great.
redid a lot of stuff, tore up all the ideas, dug out a lot of concrete, and changed stuff around.
yeah.
After the fact, because they were committed to a walkthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom, that solved it. And guess what? Somewhere along the line, somebody called it the Doom Buggy.
Buggy.
I have a backstory.
Oh.
In the 1960s, before there was a Dune Buggy,
Huh?
okay,
Okay.
a guy by the name Bruce Myers, good friend of mine, along with the people that were racing sports cars together as part of Southern California.
Yeah.
He came up with his first Dune Buggy.
Oh, wow.
D-U-N-E buggy.
Dune Buggy.
Yeah, it was
Doing
a
that.
one-off vehicle, Volkswagen chassis, chopped, built his custom fiberglass body. He took it down with the family down to Baja and drove it around a lot to see how's it going to do in the dunes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just brought it back, and he came up to Lido Isle, and I was at Road and Track magazine, their home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They had Road and Track magazine, and Bruce brings a car up, and he says, "Hey, girl, you want to drive it?" And I said, "Oh yeah, you got it working, didn't you?"
Yeah.
So we drive it up the street, and the transmission chattered.
Oh, wow.
And I says, "You got a broken motor mount." Well, he didn't know what was wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he went back to the house and checked it. Oh, the motor mount is broken. Yeah, so I could tell. I know Volkswagens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I knew Bruce. He started the Dune Buggy. So I was there driving the very first Dune Buggy when he came home.
Wow.
And
Nice.
it turned into the Doom Buggy.
You have to say it like Doom Buggy.
Yeah, there's all these little connections of history that just kind of weave their way. You know?
Yeah,
That's
That's
terrific.
really fascinating. And,
Yeah, that's great.
I think like where that the all-encompassing sound is so perfect for the haunted
Yes.
mansion because you have
Right.
your ghost hosts
Yes.
that's like narrating you through the attraction with that ominous voice that
Right,
comes from
and they
behind
kind
you.
of they move the audio from side to side of the.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like the
So
dome shape really
you literally
fills.
you feel like there's a ghost like sitting next to you when you're on that ride.
Right.
It's so
Well,
cool.
that started the whole genre with Disney. I always have sound in vehicles.
yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's super.
But that was the
smart.
very first one.
It makes me laugh because they have like the Little Mermaid attraction,
Yes.
which is seashells, but it really is just
It's another Doom
it's
Buggy.
It's
another
the same
Doom Buggy.
machine.
Yeah.
Just
It's
with a
all the
facelift.
underneath part. It's all the Omnimover track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a name that stuck. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same. It's the clam shells isn't quite as iconic as Doom Buggy.
I don't know, but they're so
And
cute.
They're-
I
they
love
are
the Little
cute.
Mermaid.
It's
I
like
love
the,
that ride.
the clam buggy.
Yeah, the
Clam
clam buggy.
Buggy.
I don't-
Yeah.
yeah, he doesn't like that name.
Neither do I.
That's
funny.
hilarious.
Well, thank you so
Yes.
much
All
for
right.
sharing.
My pleasure to fill in some missing history for you.
Yeah, It's
absolutely.
been fascinating talking to you, and I think it's so cool to kind of. I feel like we were transported
Yeah.
back to opening day Disneyland. I feel like we were just
Yeah.
like sitting there on Main Street watching all this happen.
These are just the stories that were being told and just those moments that were unfolding. And so thank you so much for sharing and for remembering so many years later. It's very, very special.
Thank you for being an awesome person, sharing your awesome
Okay.
stories.
Yes,
Yeah.
guys.
All right.
Bob Gurr was pretty awesome, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Let's
And
hear
thank
it
you
in the
guys
comments.
all for watching. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you,
All right.
thank you.
I was there. I am here.
Yes,
Yes.
you are. Yes, the Totally Awesome Show is happy to have you. That was a blast.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
all. Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Bob.
much. All
Thank
right.
you so much.
All right, bye
Bye,
guys.
guys.
That's totally awesome.